अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। हरि ओम्। ॐ तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः। Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramakrishnaaya. Readings from and later reflections on the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. The Master with the Brahma Devotees, Part 1, page 159. December 1882. In the afternoon, Sri Ramakrishna was seated on the west porch of his room in the temple garden at Dakshineswar. Among others, Baburam, Ramdayal and Yam were present. These three were going to spend the night with the Master. Yam intended to stay the following day also, for he was having his Christmas holidays. Baburam had only recently begun to visit the Master. Master to the devotees. A man becomes liberated even in this life when he knows that God is the doer of all things. Once Keshav came here with the Shambhu Mallik. I said to him, not even a leaf moves except by the will of God. Where is man's free will? All are under the will of God. Nangta was a man of great knowledge, yet even he was about to drown himself in the Ganges. He stayed here 11 months. At one time, he suffered from stomach trouble. The excruciating pain made him lose control over himself and he wanted to drown himself in the river. There was a long shoal near the bathing ghat. However, far he went into the river, he couldn't find water above his knees. Then he understood everything and came back. Everything means, there is a note, he realized that man is not free even to kill himself, that everything depends on the will of the Divine Mother. See introduction, page 31. At one time, I was very ill and was about to cut my throat with a knife. Therefore I say, O Mother, I am the machine and thou art the operator. I am the chariot and thou art the driver. I move as thou movest me. I do as thou makest me do. The devotees sang Kirtan in the Master's room. Dwell, O Lord, O lover of bhakti, in the Vrindavan of my heart, and my devotion unto thee will be thy Radha dearly loved. My body will be Nanda's home, my tenderness will be Yashoda, my longing for deliverance will be thy gentle gopi maids. Lift the Govardhan of my sin and slay my 6 unyielding passions. Fierce as the demons sent by Kamsa, sweetly play the flute of thy grace, charming the milch cow of my mind, abide in the pasture of my soul. Dwell by the Jamuna of my yearning, under the banyan of my hope, forever gracious to thy servant. And if not, but the coward's love can hold thee in Vrindavan's veil, then, Lord, let Dasarathi too become thy cowherd and thy slave. Again they sang, sing, O bird that nestles deep within my heart. Sing, O bird that sits on the kalpa tree of Brahman. Sing God's everlasting praise. Taste, O bird, of the 4 fruits of the kalpa tree, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Sing, O bird, he alone is the comfort of my soul. Sing, O bird, he alone is my life's enduring joy. O thou wondrous bird of my life, sing aloud in my heart. Unceasingly sing, O bird. Sing for everyone, evermore, even as the thirsty chatak sings for the raindrop from the cloud. A devotee from Nandan Bhaga entered the room with his friends. The master looked at him and said, "Everything inside him can be seen through his eyes, as one sees the objects in a room through a glass door." This devotee and his brothers always celebrated the anniversary of the Brahma Samaj at their house in Nandan Bagan. Sri Ramakrishna had taken part in these festivals. The evening worship began in the temples. The master was seated on the small couch in his room, absorbed in meditation. He went into an ecstatic mood and said a little later, "Mother, please draw him to thee. He is so modest and humble. He has been visiting thee." Was the master referring to Baburam, who later became one of his famous disciples? The master explained the different kinds of samadhi to the devotees. The conversation then turned to the joy and suffering of life. Why did God create so much suffering? Once Vidyasagar said in a mood of pique, "What is the use of calling on God? Just think of this incident. At one time, Genghis Khan plundered our country and imprisoned many people. The number of prisoners rose to about 100,000. The commander of his army said to him, 'Your Majesty, who will feed them? It is risky to keep them with us. It will be equally dangerous to release them. What shall I do?' Genghis Khan said, 'That's true. What can be done? Well, have them killed.' The order was accordingly given to cut them to pieces. Now, God saw this slaughter, didn't he? But he didn't stop it in any way. Therefore, I don't need God. Whether he exists or not, I don't derive any good from him." Master, is it possible to understand God's action and his motive? He creates, he preserves, and he destroys. Can we ever understand why he destroys? I say to the Divine Mother, "O Mother, I do not need to understand. Please give me love for thy lotus feet." The aim of human life is to attain bhakti. As for other things, the mother knows best. I have come to the garden to eat mangoes. What is the use of me calculating the number of trees, branches, and leaves? I only eat the mangoes. I don't need to know the number of trees and leaves. Baburam, M, and Ramdayal slept that night on the floor of the master's room. It was an early hour of the morning, about 2 or 3 o'clock. The room was dark. Sri Ramakrishna was seated on his bed and now and then conversed with the devotees. Master, remember that daya, compassion, and maya, attachment, are two different things. Attachment means the feeling of myness toward one's relatives. It is the love one feels for one's parents, one's brother, one's sister, one's wife and children. Compassion is the love one feels for all beings of the world. It is an attitude of equality. If you are anywhere an instance of compassion, as in Vidyasagar, know that it is due to the grace of God. Through compassion, one serves all beings. Maya also comes from God. Through Maya, God makes one serve one's relatives. But one thing should be remembered. Maya keeps us in ignorance and entangles us in the world, whereas Daya makes our hearts pure and gradually unties our bonds. God cannot be realized without purity of heart. One receives the grace of God by subduing the passions, lust, anger, and greed. Then one sees God. I tried many things in order to conquer lust. When I was 10 or 11 years old and lived at Kamarpukur, I first experienced Samadhi. As I was passing through a paddy field, I saw something and was overwhelmed. There are certain characteristics of God vision. One sees light, feels joy, and experiences the upsurge of a great current in one's chest like the bursting of a rocket. The next day, Baburam and Ramdiyar returned to Calcutta. M spent the day and the night with the master. This was in December, the conversation that took place between master and the devotees at Dakshineswar. Before that, last week we saw in November how Sri Ramakrishna was speaking about the worship of Ma Jagaddatri. And Jagaddatri, we also saw that how Jagaddatri came into the life of Devatas and how she was started worshipping in such a way that one removes all his ego. What is the purpose of worshipping Jagaddatri? Sri Ramakrishna asks in another place. And he gives the answer that to cut our ego, that is the purpose. So Jagaddatri gives an idea of how the ego is actually no meaning. For instance, the story of Jagaddatri comes in our Puranas. But in one of the Upanishads, we see the same story of Jagaddatri as explained by Puranas is also retold there. Actually, Puranas came later. The Upanishads came first. So we can think that from the Upanishad, that particular core idea has been taken and then expanded in Puranas to make all the normal common people to understand. Now you see how it is so wonderful that suddenly after the Durga Puja, we know that Mahishasura was killed on the Maha Ashtami day. The evening he was killed. And then Navami entered. That was the Sandhi Puja, we call it. It's very important in Durga Puja item. So people go, if we don't meditate at all on Sashti, Saptami, etc., at least Ashtami day, at the Sandhi Puja time, you have to go and sit and do some meditation. So it is something wonderful that how people are so much attached to that particular time, that Sandhi Puja. Because it was a wonderful moment of victory for Divine Mother at the Sandhi Puja time. Now, after the Durga Puja was over, it was about 1 month. A few days have passed. And the Devatas got back their palaces in the Devaloka. And the Asuras have been eliminated. All the Asuras who were with the Mahishasura, they were all sent back to Prithvi Loka, that is this earth. So Devaloka was freed from all the Asuras. So the Devatas were very happy. Okay, that's quite nice because there is no one to oppose them. They were very happy. And they were living. And they wanted to have a party of their victory. Party means, there will be congregation, there a lot of people will be coming together, and also good feast must be there, and also drink will be there. And we learn from the Puranas that Devatas were very fond of Somapanam. Somapanam is somewhat like our alcohol, liquid. So they used to drink it. So when you take drink, and the drink goes overwhelmingly more in quantity, then the man starts losing his Viveka Buddhi. That's why the drink is considered as dangerous for the monks. Monks are not supposed to drink. Why? Because it removes that Viveka Buddhi, that Buddhi of discrimination is lost. So you start talking so many things, and you do not know what you are telling. And in that way, we have seen a lot of drunkards, as we call them. So the drunkards, they do not know what the connection between one speech, one sentence and another sentence. Unconnected. Whatever in the subconscious mind, which were being censored by the conscious mind during your proper status, so now that censor is removed when you drink too much. When the censor is removed, whatever thoughts come in the subconscious, they will go on telling. So this is what happened among the Devatas. Though they are Devatas, they were overwhelmingly, they have taken the drink and they lost their Viveka Buddhi. So suddenly Varuna started telling, hey, we are all praising the Divine Mother for the victory over Mahishasura. What is after all? Yes, she went to that field and she fought with Mahishasura and she killed him. Okay, but then who gave that power to her? Is it not that we gave the power to her? Then Vayu says, yes brother, it seems to be like that only. Actually, there should be no special importance to Durga, but we are making a big issue of Durga here. But then it is not necessary, because her power came from us. We all the devatas put together gave our power. Then Agni said, yes, I saw Shiva handing over his Trishul to Divine Mother. And not only Shiva, Vishnu handed over his chakra to her. So all the devatas have given their equipments, weapons. So with that she won. So there is nothing great about Durga. That is what the conclusion they arrived. At that time, Divine Mother, who is, as a Sakshi, as an Antaryami in everyone, she understood. Oh, these devatas are getting ego. And when the ego comes, and it should be nipped it in the bud, as they say. If you don't nip it, it goes on growing. And when it becomes a big tree, you cannot cut it. So when it comes small, you should cut it. I'll tell you one beautiful incident that happened in France, because I went to France recently. And there was one Swami there. And that Swami was always very nice person. And within 2 years of his posting, he learned French so beautifully. And he was above 50 years old at that time.
Indian Swami?
Indian Swami, from Bellumat. He was sent there to work in that center. And then when he went there, he started learning French. Okay, he learned. And then he started giving speeches in the university in French language on the very important Vedanta subjects, which are very hard, to translate and then speak. But he was doing very well. People were started appreciating. Now, the Swami one day thought, hey, in 2 years' time I could pick up a language and I could give lectures. Like that he thought. But he was a sadhaka, you see. If you are a spiritual person, immediately that the rising of the ego, you can detect it. With us, the problem is the ego comes okay, but then only late we understand the ego has come. But at the rising time itself, you have to pick it up. That's what he did. On that evening, he went to Sri Ramakrishna's shrine, then sat there before Sri Ramakrishna and wept and wept and wept. And he's telling, oh Master, the ego has come within me and I do not know where it will lead to me, and it will be a great fall if this ego grows and grows and grows. So please nip it in the bud now itself. I don't want this ego to be with me. So he prayed. So 1 week is gone. One devotee driving a car took him through the rural area in France once. At that time he was sitting there, the car got into some trouble. So car stopped on the way. So the driver devotee got down and he was looking what has happened, why the car stopped. It's not moving. In the meantime, the Swami got out of the car and he was feeling thirsty. So he looked at that, a little distance, one house was there, and it was a dusk time. So the light was on. So he went straight. While going on itself, the ego is working in his mind. How? He's thinking, I have no problem in going and asking for water because I know French. I have no problem. Like that he is happy. That ego has come, he could detect that. And he went there. And he went and then knocked the door. One 10-year-old girl came and opened the door. And she asked, what do you want? He said, I am thirsty, can you arrange some water? She said, yes, yes, come inside. So he went and sat in the chair. She brought a glass of water. While drinking water, he asked this girl, how are you staying alone here? She said, no, my parents have gone for work. They will come back now. And I have my grandpa. Where is he? Oh, he is on the top, the floor. So you go up and there is a room open. He is there. So he thought, okay, let me talk to the grandpa and thank him because the small girl has helped him. So he went up. The room was like this. One door was closed, one door was open. So he stood here where the door is open, half door. From there he saw that exactly opposite near the wall there is a cot and the old man is lying there. So when he went And then he looked at him. He felt that he is in paralysis. So he can't move. This is neither his hands or legs he can move. So he's lying there. Seeing that, he started talking to him, and then he also talked very nicely. And seeing this Swami, he asked, "Are you from India?" He said, "Yes, I am from India. I belong to the Ramakrishna order of monks." Immediately he said, "Ramakrishna Paramahansa," like that he said. He said, "Yes." Then the Swami asked him, "Do you know him?" "What are you talking to me?" "When I was a young boy, college student, I used to visit our college library. There I found a book written by Roma. Roma, you all know that he is one of the Nobel Prize winner in literature. He and Tagore met once in America. So that Nobel has written a book on Ramakrishna. That book I read. From that time onwards, I am convinced that for the present world, Vedanta is the religion. And from that time onwards, I am taken with Ramakrishna's teachings. And I always tell my son, you come and read it to me. And he reads it and listens. So, when he was telling this Swami started thinking, oh, this man knew Ramakrishna years before my coming. And then that man said, turn now and see in the wall, back wall, what is there. And he turned. To his utter surprise, he found a big picture of Sri Ramakrishna there. Then he understood. He says that Swami was telling, when we are all brahmacharis in the training center. So we sat under his feet and we were hearing. He says, look, when you go to foreign countries, someone may go, like that he said. We may go. And when you go, don't think you are preaching Sri Ramakrishna. Oh. Never bring that. I thought like that, I am preaching Ramakrishna because I learned the French language. But before my coming, years before, Sri Ramakrishna has already come here through the Roma Roland's book. And wherever he is there, we do not know. In whatever places he is there, we don't know. So, Sri Ramakrishna does his own preaching on his own methods. If we can get the instrumentation, that is, we are the instruments, like that bhava, that mood if you can have, then that will save you. Otherwise, the ego will get up and then it will simply shatter you finally. So don't ever think that you are preaching. He is preaching his own glory, and we are only the instruments in carrying out. If somebody has been influenced by our talks, by our telling something about Ramakrishna, we have become instrument in his hands. So, see, Ramakrishna is approaching that person through me. That's all. So, a spoon should not be egoistic, that I am feeding. Somebody is holding the spoon and eating, The spoon cannot do that. So, somebody is behind that. So, Sri Ramakrishna says, this Jagaddatri is like the power behind everyone. And Jagaddatri told at that time, now I am coming back to the Jagaddatri story. So, as per the Kena Upanishad, in Kena Upanishad, the story comes. So, the Devatas got egoistic. Now, Divine Mother thought that these egos should be plucked. So, what to do? She assumed a form of Yaksha, as it is called. Yaksha form is, it has got no specific characteristic rupa, but it is a effulgence or a light. The light is like a round light, like a cotton. It moves on everywhere, but it is a light form. That is the Yaksha form. That is. So the Yaksha came and sat in the Devaloka. Now the Devatas were stunned. They are seeing, all the other Devatas are seeing, some Yaksha has come in the park and that Yaksha is sitting. So who is this Yaksha? Is it some Asura come in the form of Yaksha? So they were all afraid. So the news went to Indra. So Indra told Varuna, go and see, who is that Yaksha? So Varuna comes. And it's a beautiful literary, that literary beauty is there in that statement. Varuna comes and stands before Yaksha. And he asks Yaksha, who are you? And the Yaksha replies, first tell me who are you. That question puts him off. He said, no one has got the guts to ask me who are you, and you are asking me. Don't you know that I am the great god of water, Varuna? Okay, you are praising yourself so much. Tell me, what is your power? Now Varuna has to say that yes, I am the water god, so I can drench anything and everything in this world. Nothing can be without drenching that. I can put everything wet. Okay, then the Yaksha cut one small grass piece and placed before him. Now drench it, wet it. And he got upset. Such a silly thing that is challenging. So Varuna did, but he used his power, 20% power, 50% power, 75% power, 100% power he put it on that. He could not wet it. So Varuna goes back and he says to Indra, sorry leader, I cannot do anything. Then Indra says, okay, Vayu, you go there. So Vayu also comes. The same conversation happens. Who are you? Then Yaksha asks, who are you? First tell me. So I am Vayu. What is your power? I can move everything. Nothing can be without my power. I can move in that way. I can topple the mountains. I can make the ocean bring over the mountain. I can put the mountain into the ocean. I can move everything in this world. Okay, there is a small grass piece is there. Can you move that? He also got angry initially because it's something dishonor, But then, Vayu tried and tried and tried, he could not. So he goes back. And Indra says, let me check with the third person. And that is Agni. He sends Agni. The same conversation comes and Agni says, I can burn everything and put it into ashes. Okay, you can make it to ashes. Now this small grass, can you make it into ash? And Agni tried. He could burn it. Then, when this news comes to Indra, of course, was not fully drunk, it seems, from the description. He had the little Viveka Buddhi. He thought, this Yaksha seems to be extraordinary because it has taken away the power of Varuna, Vayu and Agni. There must be something in this Yaksha. Let me go and check. So he comes with humility. Not like these other three devatas. So he comes with humility and tells the Yaksha, I am really surprised. What is your power and who are you? I want to know eagerly. Please tell me. At that time, the Upanishad says, the Yaksha transforms into Mother Durga. The name Durga is not used there. The Upanishad uses the word Haimavati. That is the word it uses. Haimavati is Himalaya's Putri. Himalaya is their king and Parvati was the Himalayan Putri. So Parvati is Durga. So later Puranas specify as a Durga, but in Upanishad it doesn't say Durga. But then this Haimavati says. That means Himavan's Putri. Now, when she comes and she says to the Indra, you see how wrongly you all thought that you have given me powers and that's why I won over this Mahishasur. It is not so. All the instruments and weapons that you use, the power behind that, I am staying there. If I am taken out, there is no power, nothing can function. This is a very beautiful statement Sri Ramakrishna gives, and how beautifully Sri Ramakrishna explains from the village folk. Ramakrishna was a village folk. So, village example he gives. He says, mother puts a vessel on the stove. Under that, there is 2-3 pieces of wood she has kept. And the wood is burning now. And the vessel has become hot. There she has put water. Now, in the water, she has put a few baby potatoes. Now the water is boiling. It has come to the boiling level and you can see the baby potatoes are not stagnant there. They start moving around. So one baby potato dashes with another, another goes here, another goes there, because the water is boiling and the baby potatoes are all displaced and they are all moving here and there. Seeing that, Sri Ramakrishna asks, is that the baby potatoes have got the power to move. If anybody says, will that be correct? Suppose you remove that agni down below, you remove the fire, then the water becomes cold. Then the potatoes will simply dampen and they will stay sitting there. It can't move. So Divine Mother is behind us. Whatever we do, whatever talent we have, whatever type of excellence we may have, behind that there is that divine power lurking, and due to that we are able to manifest that. That's why Vivekananda uses the word manifestation. The divinity is within us, it is our duty to manifest it. So manifestation of divinity, he says. So here Yam is asking, and they are all sitting there, and Sri Ramakrishna, he says, a man becomes liberated even in this life. Generally liberation comes once you leave the body and go afterwards, and then you get liberated, they say. So if you are within the body, staying in the body, and you are liberated, this is moksha. This is called staying in the body and you are liberated. Like Ramana Maharishi was there. He was a liberated soul. He doesn't have any more birth. But then he was in the body. In the body itself he was there. He got liberated. So this is called a special kind of liberation. Liberation means we know moksha.
Yeah.
So a special means Vishesha moksha. That is what called Vimokshananda.
Oh, that is
so that remains, when you get that name remains.
Okay.
So what is your name? So my name is Vimokshananda. So Ananda, the bliss, derived from that Vishesha moksha, that I must remind myself all the time. So that's why the names are given. Every Ananda names you will find bliss derived from something. What is the meaning of Vivekananda? Bliss, Ananda, bliss, derived from using the Viveka Buddhi. So likewise, every name you see, is Purnananda. What is the meaning? Bliss derived from being fullness. Having fullness, wholeness. So that is called, so that time. So he says, a man becomes liberated even in this life when he knows. What he knows? That God is the doer of all things. So what a wonderful thing, that Bengali song that we all sing, that Loke bole kori ami, but actually mother does everything. People say, yes, I have done. Like that. Even Anirban does lots of presentations. And if he thinks during the presentation, I have done this presentation, I have got this order, it is wrong. From this point of view, the presentation I could give successfully is because behind me is the grace of the Divine Mother. Once you think and prepare your presentation, it is going to be a hit because that grace now starts functioning. So every work, just one example I told, like that in every work we see, when people come and tell Juma, say, oh, yesterday you sang very nicely. And he says, oh, it's all right. I say my throat was not all right on the day, but still you all appreciate. If you say that, then your ego is there. If you say that mother has given me that, so I could do it well, and you are pleased with that, it is the grace of mother. If you say that, that means that at every incident in our life, we can bring this idea and it can become practical. Is it not practical Vedanta? Thinking every time, reminding myself that no, I should not say that I have done. He who knows that he is not the doer, God is the doer, he is liberated in this life. What a beautifully he says that. And then he told Sambhumalli, what he said? Not even a leaf moves except by the will of God. That means what? There is no free will. Don't we have free will? Say at 4 o'clock, you get up and then today is Sunday. You decide whether I should come to the ashram or I would not go. So I will go or I will not go. That decision is taken by you. Nobody is forcing you to come. So you are taking the decision. Does it not show that it is a free will? So this question comes, free will and the fate, or free will or the predestined. So these two is a big problem in philosophy. So lots of philosophies have worked out, and different philosophies have got different concepts about this. That will take a long time. But then I will not go into that. But Master himself is asked, where is man's free will? all are under the will of God. And he brings the example of Nangta. Nangta, that is his Guru Totapuri. Because he was clothless, Nangta means clothless. So, naked. So that is the right meaning. So he used to call naked one. Oh, naked, Nangta. That is the word he uses. Nangta said, you are talking about the Divine Mother and her power, etc. I don't believe in these things. I believe only in Brahman. Brahman is not active. This world is Maya. This world does not exist at all in reality. So why do you say bring that Divine Mother, etc.? These are all bogus. So he was not believing in this. And Master used to go to Mother Kali and tell, Ma, see, my Guru is telling like this. Because he was the sannyas Guru, you know. He taught him Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Not only Nirvikalpa, he gave him sannyas also. So he said, my sannyas Guru is telling like this. And please make him understand. So Mother smiled, said, I will take care of him, don't worry. For that very reason, I brought him to you.
Oh,
Mother
he was there
says,
for 11 months.
Yeah, 11 months he stayed in Dakshineswar and taught, of course. Ramakrishna was not able to go beyond the Rupa and Nama, that is the name and form. He could not go beyond that. He says, go into Samadhi means he closes his eyes and his mind is dissolved in Mother Kali. And beyond that he could not go. So one day Totapuri got upset. He saw one glass piece was lying. He took it and he just put a mark there. That is, he pierced the skin and blood started coming. At that time, Master says, when my Guru did like that, I could cut Mother into 2 pieces. And Mother dissolved. And I started moving into a place where it is not a place, it is anything, whatever it is, it cannot be described. And where I am going into that sphere is all, there is no name and form. That nameless, formless sphere I have entered, he says. So that Nirvikalpa Samadhi, that Guru helped him. But then this Guru, because he believed in Brahman alone and not the power of Brahman, so Mother sent him to understand through Ramakrishna. And how nicely he says. He says to, when the Totapuri would say, tomorrow I am going to start one method of sadhana. He said, wait, let me go and ask my mother. And he would run. Totapuri thought, in Nahabad his mother was there, Ramakrishna's mother. So he is going to ask his mother. And instead of going to Nahabad, he is going to the temple. And then he comes back. I asked my mother, and mother said, okay, you can start that sadhana. He said, where is mother? Your mother stays in Nahabad. He said, no, I did not go to that mother. I went to Divine Mother Kali. And Totapuri used to make fun. Ramakrishna used to sing Kali's name. Kali, Kali, like that he used to sing. And putting his hands clapping. And Ramakrishna says, while singing songs, you must clap. He gives a reason also. The reason he gives is, consider your mind as a tree. A tree has got lot of branches. And like our mind has got lot of thoughts. Do you think all the thoughts are good? No. There are bad thoughts are there, good thoughts are there. Suddenly, the bad thoughts have come into my mind. And I am unable to remove those thoughts. I am now struggling. The bad thoughts are sitting. So as Ramakrishna says, these bad thoughts are like the birds sitting on the branches of the tree. If you go under the tree and start clapping your hand, the birds will fly away. So he says, when you sing bhajans, go on clapping, so the bad thoughts which are coming into your mind will also fly away, just like the birds. So he says that. So that Totapuri was telling him, you are clapping your hands for that purpose. But then Totapuri took it, Are tum kya roti thokte ho? He was from Punjab, So he used to ask him in Hindi. They used to speak in Hindi. So Ramakrishna also, yes, he knew Hindi. And he used to speak to him in Hindi. So Totapuri used to make fun of Ramakrishna. Kya tum roti thokte ho kya? Aise kya gana gaate ho tum? Chodo aisa. Like that he used to tell him. So that Totapuri had stomach ache. And the ache was so excruciating. That is the word he uses. Excruciating. He could not stand that. Then he thought, there is in Vedanta, the suicide is considered as a heinous sin. nobody should commit any suicide. Only those people who have attained Nirvikalpa Samadhi have got the freedom to remove that body anytime, anywhere. None other. If you have not got the Samadhi, you cannot commit suicide. You cannot remove your body on your own. So, at that time, Totapuri thought, I am having this extreme pain because my mind is attached to this body. Now, I will go into Samadhi and leave this body. How I will do? I will drown myself in this Ganges. So he started going to that steps. Then he started entering into the Ganges. He went into the Ganges. He thought, why the height is not so much, For drowning also you look at the particular height of water. So he went there. The height was less than his knees. And then he walking. He went to the other shore. And then he came back. The water never rose. And when he came back to this side, Ramakrishna was standing on the last step. And he was again clapping his hand and telling, did you see what mother has shown you? Then Totapuri understood. Hey, this is Prakriti, that divine mother. He says divine mother, and he calls him Vedantic language Prakriti. So Prakriti has got the power to mesmerize and bring this Maya. And I was under the Maya. So much of water is there in the Ganges, but today it was not there for me, and I could not get the water. That means I am under the spell of Maya. Immediately understood, yes, there is a divine power. Along with Brahman, the Brahman has got Shakti. You cannot remove the Shakti portion and only accept Brahman. Neither you can remove the Brahman and accept only Shakti. There are people also who tried like that. There are Shaktas who did not believe in the Brahman at all. So the Puranas gave them help by putting Shiva underneath and Kali standing on him. So that the Brahman is the basis. And over the Shakti plays. So Shakti does all the drama. But then Brahman has to be there. So Brahman and its power, it cannot be separated. This is one of the contribution of Sri Ramakrishna to the Advaitic thought, our philosophy, that I always point out this, how beautifully he brings that a diamond and its dazzling power cannot be separated. If you have a diamond, the dazzling power will be there. However old it becomes, the dazzling power cannot be separated. Milk and its whiteness, he gives another example, cannot be separated. So these things, when Sri Ramakrishna speaks so beautifully, and we are able to understand, oh, the Brahman also we believe, Shakti also we believe. So if some Shakta says, don't believe in Brahman, we cannot do. See, because Ramakrishna has proved in his life that these two are necessary. And that was his Nanta. He suffered from stomach trouble, then he understood everything and came back. And he says that, actually the topic came from the discussion that how is it that you always say, oh mother, please come to me and please save me, etc. You says, but then why you are thinking that God is there? So Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar was a great person. We all know that his life, etc. And he is such a wonderful man. He was, though he has studied the Shastras so thoroughly, and he was a master in Sanskrit, and he was the vice chancellor of the university, and he was such a great charitable-minded person. He started more than 80 schools in Bengal in his time. Such a great man, and made everybody feed. Feeding also he used to do from his salary. So that man, he was an agnostic. He didn't believe in the existence of God. So he is telling to Yam. Yam says that I am going to my Guru Ramakrishna in Dakshineswar. He is a Paramahansa, etc., etc. He speaks to them. Then he says, it's okay, I would like to meet him one day. I will go there and meet him. But then ask your Guru, is it, if God is really there? Then Yam says, yes, God is really there. He believes in the existence of God. Then he says, then ask him this question. When Genghis Khan came, 100,000 Hindu soldiers were under his capture. And the commander went and asked the Genghis Khan, what to do with these people? We are feeding them 3 times. And neither we can use them for any work. And our khazana is now getting emptied. only in feeding. What is the use? Then he says, kill them. And 100,000 soldiers were killed. So Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar asked, was God sleeping at the time? Was he not there? How did he allow 100,000 persons to be killed? This question comes. Tsunami comes, 60,000 people are washed away. If God is there, why should he send tsunami? If God is there, this is the question Nivedita raised. She asked her father, when the father went for a sermon in one place, so this little girl went with him, and then he was giving a sermon there. And then when it was over, she came to a house. Then she asked her dad, you told there that God is all merciful. Then he said, yes, what is the wrong in that? It is true, God is all merciful. If he is so all merciful, our next door neighbor, that old lady, she is in sick bed for 20 years. Why he has not cured her? Why he has given her that problem? So her father could not answer this question. She simply snubbed her. Don't ask such questions. That's all. But she wrote it down, clearly remembering this question in her diary. And when she met Vivekananda in London, and Vivekananda answered that question without being asked. In his lecture, he replied, why God gives sufferings? Why sufferings comes to us? So the law of karma, etc., he explained. And then she says, that old question that was in my mind was answered by Vivekananda. So this question comes in Buddhijeevi, Buddhijeevi. So the intellectuals, we all always ask these questions. If God is there, why he should be unmerciful? If he is all merciful, in some places he is acting unmerciful. So this question comes, and Vidyasagar, such a learned person, he is asking this. Then Sri Ramakrishna, of course, there are different types of answers are there. Our Puranas also give certain answers. Our philosophy also have got certain answers. And it's all, they say, it's a different approaches to certain problems. The problem of God and the problem of existence of God and the problem of the sufferings in the world in spite of the existence of God, these are all analyzed in philosophy. So if you take Dvaita philosophy, Visishtadvaita philosophy, Advaita philosophy, they have had different concepts. So they throw different attitude or approaches to this problem. And in what you are believing in, if it is acceptable, you accept it. Now what is the approach Sri Ramakrishna takes to this problem? It is a unique problem and a unique solution he gives. This is, you may accept, you may not accept, but what he says, what is Ramakrishna's approach, we must know. So Ramakrishna says, is it possible to understand God's action and his motive? He creates, he preserves, and he destroys. Can we ever understand why he destroys? I say to the Divine Mother, O Mother, I do not need to understand. Please give me love for thy lotus feet. The aim of human life is to attain bhakti. As for other things, Mother knows best. This is absolute surrender to the divine, and he is not telling that I want to know also. What is the use of knowing? He says, by doing bhakti to Divine Mother, and I am satisfied and I am released from this world. And then what happens to the created world, why should I worry about? He says, if I can get drunk with 1 quarter, why should I know and measure how much drink is there in that barrel? I don't need to know. Let them keep 10 barrels or 1 barrel, doesn't matter. For me, 1 glass is enough. That is the attitude of Sri Ramakrishna, the total surrender. As a child of mother, he always thinks he is a child. And this wonderful attitude of Sri Ramakrishna says, and he justifies his attitude also by telling, you have come to the bagan, that is the forest or the garden, mango orchard. And then a lot of mangoes are there. Start eating, enjoy. Why do you want to count how many trees are there, how many leaves are there? These are all unnecessary. That's what he said. Because man's life, this human life, is so rare thing. That we have got. And now we are unnecessarily entering into lots of arguments and questions, etc., which are not necessary. So you just eat mangoes and enjoy. I only eat the mangoes. I don't need to know the number of trees and leaves. That's what he says. And so with this, we find that Sri Ramakrishna brings out a beautiful idea of, in another place, for the same question, I am suffering so much, why? God has given me suffering, like that a devotee asks. And then he says, take it as Leela of God. Vaishnava scriptures, they always say that this is a Leela, God's play. Then that gentleman says, it's all God, for God it's all play, but for me it is not a play, I am suffering. So how it can be united? Then he says, are you different from that God? If God has become this entire universe, and are you not God? So if you are suffering means God is suffering, is it not? So why you say that God is making you suffer? When you separate yourself from God, then only this problem comes. In Advaita Vedanta, this problem doesn't exist. Because there is only one. And the rest of them are not at all there. This only seemingly they are existing. So the sufferings is not to me. I am not the body, I am not the mind, I have no disease, I have nothing to worry. Like that the sloka comes, So Shivoham, like that it ends. So Nirvana Shatakam it is called. So Shankaracharya wrote, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I don't have a husband, I don't have a wife, I am neither a male nor a female, I am not this, I am not that. Like that you go on denying that. Finally he says that I am Shivoham, I am that Shiva. So only in Advaita Vedanta you find this answer comes in such a way that these questions become or loses its relevance. So we saw this week, next week we shall continue. Om Niranjanam Nityam Anantarupam Bhaktanukampadrita Vigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamityam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namaha. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.